A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. Promises to be exciting as always. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Tonight on the show, we'll be talking about marathons making his return in Nigeria. We'll also talk about the FIFA 2026 World Cup, how the hosts preparing for all of that. And of course, will be your eyes and your ears. There's the UEFA Europa League semi-final currently going on, and of course the Conference League finals, semi-finals also currently going on. So we'll talk about all of that even as we go on the show. We'll also not forget to talk about what went down yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. Some have called it a blowout from Manchester City, of course, hammering defending champions Real Madrid. And usually I'm not alone on the show. We do this together. We run this race together, and of course we take this straight together. My colleague Austin Okonakpan is suited and ready. Greetings to you, Austin. Feels good to do this again with you.
What a greetings to you. I mean, it's good to be back on the show. Always a delight to go on this fun, jolly ride with you and our viewers joining us from different parts of the world. Still an action-packed world of sports right here from my base. You mentioned what's going on in the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. Let me also add that we also have that game going on in the English Premier League between Newcastle United and Brighton. Very important, fixture for the league table, and we're monitoring that one. I think at the moment it's Newcastle 2, Brighton 1. So much to talk about on the show tonight, and we're ready to make it fun all the way.
And just for laughs, I had a colleague who was a Manchester United fan, by the way, getting angry when Newcastle United started scoring those goals. I don't know if he's happy now. Brighton has got one back, but all right, let's settle in and get into everything as we talk sports on the show tonight. And Austin, of course, we've talked about this. We've wondered, we've guessed, we've suggested, but now we know Rafael Nadal, 14-time champion at the French Open, will not be there. It's a big blow. Novak Djokovic talked about it 2 days ago, but now the man has spoken. We've heard it from the Aussies' mouth. Rafael Nadal, 14-time champion, 22-time Grand Slam winner, will not be at Roland Garros. How much does this take away from the event?
So much, because there's no way we talk about Roland Garros and you don't see this man. I think he's the model behind the competition. It's sad, for those of us who grew up with Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and you can even add Novak Djokovic into the mix. We've seen these guys give everything that they have for the development of tennis. They've been an inspiration, a good motivation to upcoming tennis players. And it's so sad, Yemi, that we should start brazen up that Rafael Nadal might just, be calling it quits anytime soon because of his age and then his style of play. Shout out to him for even staying relevant up to this point. But it's really sad that we're not going to have Nadal at Roland Garros, Yemi.
I remember telling our colleague, Cecilia Morugwe, that I saw this coming. He said when Roger Federer retired, a part of him retired with Roger Federer, and I knew that this day was surely upon us. And you quite rightly hinted that we should start getting used to not seeing Nadal at events, and even the man himself has even gone ahead to tell us that from next year we might not be seeing him again. Here's Rafael Nadal announcing to the world he will be missing Roland Garros as the French Open, and of course giving us a hint when he will be putting down the racket.
Not going to be able to play in Roland Garros, as you know. I was even working as much as possible every single day for the last 4 months. Have been very difficult months because we were not able to find the solution to the problem that I had in Australia. So today, still in a position that I am not able to feel myself ready to compete at the standards that I need to be to play at Roland Garros. No, I am not the guy that's going to be in Roland Garros, and just try to be there and put myself in a position that I don't like to be. No? My ambition is to try to stop, to give myself an opportunity to enjoy next year. That's probably going to be my last year in a professional tour. I would like to play the things that are important for me, and of course, Olympic Games is one of the competitions that I would love to be in. So I hope to be there. If it's going to be my last one or not, my last tournament or not, I can't say now.
All right, we knew this day was going to come, and it appears like it's coming up. Of course, I remember when he burst onto the scene, Austin, and I remember some commentators, making comments about his young age, about how dominant he was. A lot of us didn't even think he was going to last this long, but he has lasted this long. A testament to the fighting power of the man, his mentality, and everything. I mean, we could go on and on talking about what he has brought to the sports. I can remember many years when Nadal will be injured, and some of us will start advising him to retire, and just before you know it, he comes back and starts winning.
It doesn't just win when he has those injuries, and then his medical team, they are getting worried. They go out there, they beat his thigh. He comes back, he stretches, and he's giving you those power backhands and forehands once again. You start wondering, where does this guy get his strength from? That's Rafael Nadal, and Yemi, king of clay. They didn't just dump it on Nadal because they want to call him the king of clay. He merited to be called the king of clay. The first time he played at the French Open in 2005, he won, and Yemi went on to win 13 more times. So he has 14 titles from clay. So there's no way you sit down, talk about the French Open, and then Rafael Nadal is missing. Remember, 2 years ago, the organizers, they unveiled a statue to show some respect to Rafael Nadal. And look, they said it doesn't compare to anything that Rafael Nadal has brought to the competition. Fantastic player, and we're looking forward to him winning a record 15th, victory at Roland Garros. It would have given him a record 23rd men's Grand Slam title. But instead, what this means is that it has given an opportunity for Novak Djokovic to reach that mark.
Yeah, and if he does, it means they won't be at par anymore. All right, I seem to be seeing Bolu Omoni on the fringes. Let's see if we can bring him in to join in this conversation. Greetings to you, Bolu. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show. And like I said, I'm used to having you here, but probably I'll get used to this sometime.
Hi, good evening. And talking about Rafa Nadal, stepping out just gives me chills. Like many of us who remember when he came up as a teenager, people felt, and we've seen teenagers maybe just win 1 or 2 times, but his dominance, his consistency, all the years. Yemi talked about his first Roland Garros, that's almost 20 years ago, and look at him still standing strong. But like they say, no matter how much you try, age will catch up with you. Age will not, if you don't get the rest, age will ask for it. Unfortunately, will not be here this time. We saw it coming, but it was, let's see if you can push it, let's see how much you can. But the body is saying you are not ready for this. He clearly said that the next year will probably be his last. And I don't think he may not win anything till then. But just like we said about Roger Federer, even if he ends up not winning anything, even the legendary status is definitely there and will remain for a very long time. The happiest man in the world will probably be Djokovic. He would definitely hope to pick his 23rd at Roland Garros, but anything can still happen. The young boys, including Nadal's compatriots in Alcaraz, they really want to get back into the scene. And let's see what happens with Roland Garros.
All right. Let me go to Austin. I'm actually going to yield the floor to him. But before we go to our next port of call, which is the marathon, Austin, just quickly, let's do this if we can. We have to talk about the French Open. Sadly, we will be talking about the French Open without the king of clay himself, Rafael Nadal. And Bolu has taken the words right out of my mouth, really. But I don't seem to agree totally that the biggest threat, or the only threat, let me put it this way, the only threat to Nadal has been taken away. The biggest threat, yes, but not the only threat, because you still have Carlos Alcaraz.
You do, and you must give Carlos Alcaraz his flowers. But it's just this chain reaction, when you talk about a legend of the sports, when it's Rafael Nadal in contention, and then the media, they are reporting it in a way that goes on to motivate a 36-year-old tennis player to revitalize and start playing breathtaking tennis, then you understand that experience is earned, and that's what Rafael Nadal has done. Remember, there was a time that he was sharing the titles, I think, with Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, rather. And we were saying, aren't these guys tired? Wouldn't they get old? And then it dawned on me that with individual sports, when you've been there, done that, and you've got the quality, you just say to yourself that, look, I can go all the way. I say it over and over again. It's just a hip injury that has taken Rafael Nadal out of the French Open now. But then again, it's because of his power play and his level of enthusiasm, his passion that he puts out there. Yes, you'd expect the likes of Alcaraz. You want to even maybe put Tsitsipas in the mix to an extent. I like Medvedev, but there's just something about Novak Djokovic and the way he just knows how to beat these other guys. There was a time I thought that Alexander Zverev is the next thing I'll talk about in tennis. And then suddenly I'm not talking about Alexander Zverev anymore. But with this guy competing, particularly on clay, there's just this spirit that takes over the atmosphere when Rafael Nadal gets his racket and then leaves those shoes and get on clay. He just starts, dominating. And no wonder he's been able to win 14 times on this surface. So yes, it's not to play down the other guys. They have their quality, they are professionals. But let me just come back to what we used to say back then when I was in Lagos. Say if you know be Panadol.
I definitely agree. All right, that's the much we can take on tennis. We could go on and on talking about this man, fond memories. But he'll still be around. All right, let me yield the floor to you, Austin. But it's time to talk about marathons. Let's talk about the Onitsha Marathon. It's going to be the second one, but of course, this one is having an international feel to it.
This is what we're talking about here. The development should have a long-term planning and should also grow into something regional. When we started the Okpekpe International, road race in Nigeria, a small village somewhere in Edo State was hosting that, and then it became so big. And then we got the Lagos City Marathon, and then we got the Pole City Marathon in Enugu, and then we got the Ijebu road race. Now we're having the Onitsha City Marathon, second edition. But when you have international in the mix, it means that the international body is having a look at you. It means that you have to do things with standards. You have to respect, some of the things that will make it international. And that is what we want to see in Nigeria. So shout out to everyone that is putting their bit in ensuring that marathon, keeps getting better in Nigeria. Shout out to Bukola Olokpade and, some of the people who we know are the forefront of this for Onitsha. We talk about Onitsha in a whole lot of ways, but now it's so good to know that we're talking about Onitsha with the marathon. And young persons will be involved in this. It will create employment opportunity. It will promote the fitness culture, which is very, very important. I know it will be difficult to say Nigerians will come out to win because those East Africans know how to come back home and then do the magic. But this is good. Sometimes when you organize a competition, you learn so much from it, and it's not just all about winning. You know what? Let's listen to the organizers of the Onitsha Marathon, and then we'll get Bolu to respond to it.
Onitsha City Marathon, as you know, is an initiative for Onitsha Business School. It is a product of our doctoral and master's degree students during our simulation classes, aimed at providing a solution to our observed challenges: unemployment, inability to combine resources to capital, social vices like engagement with our youth, And we believe that there are a lot of energies that we can mobilize on a continual basis that will change this narrative.
We are going to have minimum of 5 international athletes, elite athletes, that are in the top 300. Then we're also going to invite more than 20 foreign athletes. And I'm sure these countries we are representing, we had 11 the last time, we're going to have more.
Yeah, so that's it. The Onitsha City Marathon will take place on the 30th of September, and it's going to be a 21-kilometer marathon. Now, Bolu, I listened to one of the organizers saying that we'll have at least 5 international elite athletes. And for me, that's a good one because it can motivate marathoners back home to get, more into the sports.
Well, let me use the Lagos City Marathon, for example. It didn't start with a lot of foreign athletes. It started growing step by step. The truth is, when 5, and it's minimum, it could be more, it could be up to 20. But when 5 foreign athletes come, and later out of the 5, they publicize it the following year, when you say good things about the event you went to, where you get money, the truth is they're going to win money. You can publicize it everywhere that, I think there's good money, there's good publicity, there's good atmosphere, the environment is good, the people are loving. It will definitely spread across the board. I like what people are doing now. We've talked about Lagos, we've talked about Okwepe. Remember the Abuja Marathon, and so everyone is playing their part. Everyone is putting heads together. This is what we say all the time. The federal government or the sport ministry or even the federation will not do everything. The state FAs need to step up. Individuals need to step up. Corporate bodies need to step up. And this is what we're saying. I think I love this. When I first heard about this on the channel, I said, oh, okay, well done. Another competition. It means others can also see this as a new challenge that let's step up. You said something that last year's edition was no more of the international competition. Now they are taking it worldwide. It means one thing. Even the IAAF can see something like this and decide to channel energy towards it. They can decide to make it a process of qualification as well. If it grows bigger. I think I love what they are doing. Hopefully it grows to become even more bigger. This is 21 kilometers. Who knows? In a few years, you can even get to the huge level of 2. Hopefully it gets there someday.
I totally agree with you, Yemi.
Yeah, there's nothing to add. And it's also heartwarming that, of course, Anambra State, where this event is going to be held, the state is giving a lot of support to the organizers and they are backing, especially it's heartwarming when it's coming from the State Sports Commission. Let's take some remarks from the Sports Commission, just letting the world know that they are fully in support of the Onitsha International Marathon. That's what it's called now. I will come back for more. Sports Tonight.
We are solidly behind Onitsha Business School in this venture. Even though at the last edition in 2019, the state government was not so visible in that marathon. But this time around, we are part of the arrangement. We are part of the organizing committee, and we assure you that we are going to do the marathon to the best international ethics. Anambra State Sport Development Commission, we are happy with this kind of thing because Onitsha City Marathon, let me thank the DG of Onitsha Business School, Professor Shokbeson. He has done a lot in this marathon. This kind of thing, private, public partnership in sport development is the in thing now. We are happy when we see private ventures coming out to support sports, because sport is not for government alone this time around. Private people come out to support, and we're so happy when this kind of thing is coming from Onitsha Business School.
All right, organizers receiving commendation from Anambra State. Let's also tell you that over 20,000 athletes are being expected. And of course, the state's training is weight behind the event, and hopefully it will come out the way it's expected. Let's go on a break now. When we return from that break, it's going to be football all the way. Join us again. All right, welcome back. I thought it's going to be football all the way. Let's start with the ladies now. We'll talk about the Federation Cup. Let's give you the results, quarterfinal results, and it's going to be right up your screen. So let's quickly dissect what we have on the screen. Round of 16 results, by the way. Round of 16, actually. Of course, it's there on the screen. You have Bayelsa Queens defeating Fortress Ladies, Lakeside Queens defeating Edo Queens, Robo Queens played a 1-1 draw with Nasarawa, and they had to be separated via penalties. And Rivers Angels and Delta Queens, of course, also had to be settled via penalties. So that's the 2023 Federation Cup at the last 8 stage. All right. Let me get Bolu's thoughts quickly before I head back to Austin. Bolu, we're talking about the ladies, and I don't know if some of the results we've been able to show if there are any surprises.
It has to be Robo Queens losing. Yeah, it's via penalties to Nassau United. But with the form Robo Queens picked up towards the end of the regular season, I thought they would maybe get to semi or, if possible, the final of the FA Cup. But it just means the form in the league is completely different from core competitions. And we see it even across the top leagues in Europe, where a team will be doing well in the Champions League and poor in the league, or poor in the league, Champions League and do well in the league. So I was surprised with that. But you cannot take anything away from Bayelsa Queens 9-0. And you don't see results like that every time in football, but it is what it is. In the cup games are where you see shockers. It's the cup games you see love, Cinderella stories and everything. So let's see how far it will be. At least since they are Super Sixes or suspension, one thing is certain, they are still playing good football. So hopefully the FA Cup continues to give us the exciting football matches they deserve.
All right, let me just go to Austin. Of course, probably you the floor to him as well to talk about global football matters. But your thoughts on the results, Federation Cup, the women?
While we're acting like we didn't see what Bayelsa Queens did to Fortress, 9-0 is massive. Tells you that they are actually driven by competition. But I'm not surprised at what happened with Robo Queens. I think in a way, I'm surprised with the Rivers Angels and Delta Queens results. Remember, Delta Queens ended their regular season in the league unbeaten, so you would expect that kind of team would want to keep it going, probably do the double. But Rivers Angels proving to us that they understand women's football in Nigeria. They did the same thing with the league, just when we're thinking that they will not make it to the Super Six. They gave us that late, bounce back, and there they are doing the same thing with the cup competition. So winning that 1-3-1 via penalties, holding Delta Queens goalless all the way goes to tell you that Rivers Angels wants to prove a point. And with the cup competitions with women football in Nigeria, you kind of, push Rivers Angels aside. Let's also commend Edo Queens and the consistency they're showing, winning that 5-1 against Lakeside Queens. Edo Queens, with everything that the state government they've done for football in that state, I think it's laudable, and we can see it across board, both with Edo Queens and Bendel Insurance. So that's it with the Federation Cup. We'll wait to see what will happen in the quarterfinal stage. Round of 16 done. We'll continue to monitor that one right here on Sports Tonight. Let's get into global football now. We're getting ready for the North American Fiesta. Does it get bigger than the World Cup that 3 countries will come together to host? Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America will host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And they cannot wait. Yemi and Bolu, they've already started the countdown. If you take a look at the calendar from today, it's 1,120 days to the 2026 FIFA World Cup that will take place from June the 11th till July the 19th, 2026. And in Los Angeles, the countdown has already started. And that's because they want to start feeling the fever. They want to tell the world that they are ready. And this is what we're talking about. They're beginning to get those media mentions. They're beginning to carry persons along to say, look, we know this is the World Cup, and yes, you just finished one in Qatar in December, but we are here telling you that if you want this 2026 World Cup to happen next week, we're ready. Let's take a listen to some of the talking points coming out of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Excited already.
the learnings that we had in the last World Cup was really having 32 countries and fans of these countries together in the same place and celebrating in a peaceful and joyful environment was something that we will bring as well in this part of the world. It will be a completely different World Cup because it will be much greater, much bigger, 48 teams, 16 host cities, 3 host countries, 104 matches. So it will be basically the best, but much more than that. We look forward to that. So for us, it's important to create the right environment for the teams and the fans to be put in the best possible conditions, meaning not having to travel too much, especially at the beginning. So we create some clusters where the teams will be based depending on the draw, and then they will play their games in that particular cluster.
But it's just one night of many nights that are going to come when it comes to what this is going to mean to soccer in not just the United States, but our friends to the North Canada and our friends to the South Mexico in terms of this joint hosting and what it means for the evolution of soccer. I'm sitting here on this green carpet. I'm sitting here in this incredible environment for one reason. The 1994 World Cup, it changed my life forever. I lived the power of what a World Cup can do to an individual, and I love the fact that there's another young man whose life is going to be changed.
Yeah, so that's it. A lot of talking points coming out of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And it's just 2023, Bolu. But when you take a look at some of the things that will make this World Cup special, 43-team format, that's the first time we're going to be having that. 16 host cities, 104 matches. Bolu, aren't you pumped up already?
And the fact that Africa will be having 9 1/3 slots there, 9 guaranteed slots, the other one will be through players. I think it's what at least many African countries will be looking forward to. Yes, many complications, the 48 will not experience it, but I'm sure when we will have 2026 and the 2030, we'll get used to it. But at least we have most. I told people if Nigeria cannot make the World Cup out of almost 10, we should not play football anymore. It means more slots, more games. The truth of the matter is, as fans, we always want to watch more football, irrespective of what happens. So that's one thing it's bringing. And when was the last time they had anything like this in that region? That was in 1994, and Alexis testified to that it changed his life. So you can understand their excitement, their preparation, that come what may, we are definitely ready. It's still very far. 2023 is 6, but at the same time, they said the best time to plan is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And I like that, like you rightly said earlier, if they say let's start next week, we are ready to bring it on. The atmosphere is changing already. That's what the World Cup can do to any nation. That's why they call it the biggest sporting event ever.
I love it. Let me just set the record straight. It's not 43, it's 48. 48-team format. I think I slipped and said 43. But Yemi, look, I'm 48 teams. When the Super Eagles don't qualify, I don't know how I'm going to explain this on TV.
It's going to be very exciting. And, like Bolu said, I just want to think it from where, if we can't qualify for the World Cup with 9 slots, then we shouldn't be playing football. We're not in that business. And I mean, I'm struggling to add to whatever you guys have said. It's going to be very interesting. The only downside, if you ask me, is it's that countries might play lesser matches because you're going to have 48 teams, and the way they've been explaining the formats, I mean, I don't know, but I'll wait for more further clarifications. But you might have to, like, for instance, if you qualify for the World Cup, it's guaranteed you're going to play 3 matches. With this new format, it might just be 2 or whatever. But we'll see how it goes. That's probably the only downside for me. But talking about the host countries and the host cities, well-experienced countries, Canada has not hosted the World Cup before, but they've hosted major sporting events. United States have hosted the World Cup before. Mexico has hosted the World Cup before. And so we're in safe hands. They're close to each other's. Some people have jokingly called them cousins. I mean, you see a lot of similarities in the 3 countries. They're integrated somehow, and so it makes for good football. As to the quality, we'll have to wait to see. A lot of people have also talked about hey, 48 teams might water down the quality somewhat, but you never can tell until you see the nations actually play football. That's where you can say whether or not anything is going to be watered down. But I'm excited, as everyone is excited, that all of this, all the preparation and everything is going on the way it should.
I totally agree with you. We cannot wait for the World Cup to begin. It's 1,120 days from today, and we're already talking about the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Yemi and Bolu, walk with me. Let me bring you guys to England, where we're talking about these days, all we talk about is Manchester City when you talk about football. What a story. Let's talk about what went down in the second semi-final of the UEFA Champions League. Manchester City and Real Madrid played 1-1 at the Bernabeu in the first leg. Second leg, there was tension everywhere. You tried to make me predict, and I was numb on live TV. But what a way to respond. This Pep Guardiola's team, they are telling the world that, look, right now we cannot be broken. They thrashed Real Madrid by 4-0. And this man that has scored 52 goals this season didn't even score a goal last night. Tells you how good this Manchester City team has set up. So now they will be playing the final against Inter Milan in Istanbul. We're looking forward to that one. But Yemi and Bolu, the story is this. England is quite divided over this. There is a part that are excited that Manchester City might just go on to win the treble. There's another part that is shaking that when Manchester City wins the treble now, it has, taken their shine that they always brag about, that they have the treble. The other part of Manchester, I don't want to call their name, but let's listen.
And most of them are in Manchester, whichever side, whichever outside they are.
Let's listen to Pep Guardiola react to that, win against Real Madrid, and then we'll come back, we'll talk about it.
These last days that we had the mix of calm and tension, to play this type of games. And after 10 or 15 minutes, I had the feeling that all the pain that we had during one season, 1 year, what happened last season, was today there. So it was so hard, tough last season, when here, last season, we played quite similar like today played. And could be, I remember Toni Kroos in an interview during the year that Madrid is special because we could have lost 10-1 or 10-2 in Etihad, but we could not lose 10-1, 10-2. When Toni Kroos, one of the best players I ever trained and ever seen, say that we were there. And it was really tough, lose the way we lose. And I think in that moment we have to swallow poison, you have to swallow everything and be kind. And football and sport always give you another chance. And when the draw with Madrid, I said, yeah, I want it. I want it because then I think today was there, everything. The energy that we had last season during 1 year, that being criticized these players, but didn't have character, didn't have anything. When we lose because it's football, today was there, and I'm very pleased for the whole organization. That's why 1 year later, so we are in the final of the Champions League, and always to give you football, always to give you life, always to give you the same opportunities. Opportunities don't give up. Just try again, try again. Important is to be there. We are 1 game away to be 3 years in a row Premier League winners. If it has happened, we are 3 years in a row winning the Premier League, and we have been 2 final Champions League and 1 semi-final Champions League. And that is the consistency.
All right, Pep Guardiola speaking there. I mean, a lot of people are saying that his legacy rests on whether or not he wins the UEFA Champions League for Manchester City. That was what he was brought in to win. We can all say that, but what we can't argue about is how good this team is and how good they've been handled by Pep Guardiola. But let me quickly get your thoughts, even though we're pressed for time. If that game was played 10 other times, Manchester City will still win.
Well, Real Madrid were beaten, battered, annihilated, humiliated, thrashed, and every other kind of grammar you can use. Like Pep said, last season they were this close to it as the Real Madrid moment of magic and everything. But this time around, they knew what they wanted. Similar to what they had last time, they got 2 goals, but they backed it up this time. Ancelotti did everything. First half, no Rudiger. Second half with Rudiger. He had the old guns, they changed them to the young guns. They still kept on conceding goals. It's just how good this Manchester City side are. And like Austin said, even Haaland didn't get to score. And they still scored 4 goals against Real Madrid. People are underrating them. The interesting thing is most of those that wanted Real Madrid to win are Premier League fans who do not like Pep Guardiola. Most Madrid fans are giving up on the game already. Well, if he comes, yes. If he doesn't, yes. So I think it's all about how good City are. Now they look to be going for the treble. I've been saying this is the quarterfinal. I will be shocked if they don't win the treble. And with these guys, they are literally the best team in the world. Look at the run of wins they've had. Look at the way they play, the way they score. It's not about the money. A friend of theirs, Fuma Katuba, said something one time that if you think Pep Guardiola's team play like this because of money, I can't help you. He is just too good. The truth is, Pep is a genius, whether we like it or not. And it showed on the day for him. I'll be happy for him if he gets to win the Champions League. Madrid were losing yesterday. Chelsea and Inter were getting bantered. That Chelsea should not bother coming to the Etihad this weekend, and Inter Milan will get in the final. What a good game for Man City yesterday.
But let me butt in quickly before we go to Austin. These are the fans celebrating. You can see pictures. I mean, painting the city blue. Do you foresee any heartbreak in the final? In a few seconds before we go to Austin, do you foresee any heartbreak?
Well, apart from Atletico Madrid and Valencia that go to their second final and still lost. Most teams, when you lose one and get the second, you win. So I think Man City are picking up their first ever UEFA Champions League come June the 10th.
All right, let's go to Austin. I don't know if he shares your views, but I think I do agree with you. It's their time. This is not the time to play against Manchester City. But let me hear what Austin has to say.
You know, you need to commend Pep Guardiola and this Manchester City team. Yemi, I think the last time they lost the game was in February. And if you've been listening to Pep, one word keeps coming up, and he still said it today: consistency. And that's what he wants to achieve with this team. And they are proving that every time that they get on the pitch to execute, a football match. So shout out to Manchester City for making it to the final of the UEFA Champions League. Hopefully they have a second chance to correct, some of the mishaps that have happened to them in the past. But why I love the final that we're going to be having on June the 10th is because both teams are pumped up to win it. Inter Milan, they're saying bring on anybody. If it's Real Madrid, bring them. If it's Manchester City, bring them. And they know how to play the big teams. If you take a look at the way they pushed aside AC Milan, then you don't want to push them aside also in the final game. But as it is, Yemi and Bolu, if you reach the final, one thing is for sure, you've got your destiny in your hands. So get to see what these guys will do on the final day. Let us run through what's going on with some of the live games that we are monitoring. I told you in the English Premier League, the game between Newcastle United and Brighton has ended. And Newcastle, when they want to just mess you up, they mess you up when you least expect. Has ended 4-1 in favor of Newcastle. So Manchester United, they will be shaking right now because that consolidates Newcastle's position on the league table. They are set on the log. In the Europa League, some interesting results. Bayer Leverkusen and Roma still goalless. The game between Sevilla and Juve is 1-1. Sevilla, they love this competition. So on aggregate, it's 2-2. I think that we're going to see a final surprise in this one. Bolu, in a minute before we wrap up, you still feel Sevilla can go all the way in the Europa League?
That's what we said about the Champions League and I think the two guys will win. But Sevilla in this competition, you don't underrate them. Poor form in the league, but they are doing well. So, like you rightly said, I think we may still see a surprise there, and I believe it should be from the home side, Sevilla.
Okay, we'll be monitoring that one. That's the show from me in London, Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
And I wanted to tell Bolu thank you, but we'll probably do that later. From us here in the Lagos studio, we hope you've enjoyed everything that we've been able to bring to you. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Emi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.